Rolling Stones' Hackney Diamonds is out now. I'm sure you've been playing it loud, but now it's time to talk about it. The album opens up with the single Angry. I still love this song. I still can't believe that the Stones at this age can make a song that just sounds like a shotgun blast through the speakers. Get Close is the second track, starts off with a gorgeous and silky guitar. It's so vibrant and it's so sleek, and Mick Jagger sounds great on this. Mick Jagger is rolling back the years of his voice. There's no aging to Mick Jagger's voice, let alone Mick Jagger, but he just sounds fantastic. Depending on You is the third track, a really great heartbreak song. Too young to die, too old to lose, because I was depending on you. I love that lyric, lovely little poetic line, and I feel like this whole song has a sense of that. Jagger with sweet little lines about being in love and of course loss. Very laid back guitar and drums on this, you can really feel yourself drifting away. And this is one of many songs on this album you can imagine them playing on their shows and having just as much of the action as their classics. It sounds so honest, and that's impressive coming from a band that you could say some would be cynical about at this point in their career. They're over commercialized, they're too old, but they're still making stuff from the heart. So Paul McCartney is on the next song, Bite My Head Off, and it's the heaviest song on the album, and he's playing bass on it. Imagine that. This might actually be the heaviest song that Paul McCartney's ever played on in his career. This just sounds like a Sex Pistols tribute. It's just a punky, out of control, aggressive vibe to this. Jagger belting out lyrics you can imagine Johnny Rotten wailing back in the day. Like, this is an old school punk song. Very dirty and smashing guitars to it. You know, they don't sacrifice the heaviness on the album. I do feel like there is kind of a pop rock vibe running throughout the album. They are going for radio, but they're not sacrificing any of being a rock band. Whole Wide World is one of my favourites on the album. It's a song about never giving up. I love the fast-paced and moody verses. It takes a unique approach because I feel like the verses are the kind of fast-paced and aggressive bit, and the chorus is a little more gentle and a little more lighter. There's lots of personal lyrics in the song from Jagger. He says, memories of my past, the filthy flat in Fulham, the smell of sex and gas. I never ever really knew where I was sleeping next. Takes you back to the beginning of the Stones. So there is a reflection on this album. But also this is a song for everyone. And it tells you not to give up even when you feel like the whole world's against you. So it's a nice positive message. While it sounds like a comforting song to people struggling, it does sound like a message to young Jagger. I feel like Mick Jagger does understand what regular people go through with the lyric, the dreary streets of London, never promised much, a dead-end job to nowhere and all your dreams are crushed. It's about how the reality of the world can really affect young people and make them feel there's not much out there, and maybe Jagger felt like that when he was younger. Very grounded song that a lot of people are going to relate to. Dreamy Skies is the next song on the album. It's impressive how the Stones are still making me, and I'm sure many others, millions of others, still feel stuff. You know, I feel like the last album, Bigger Bang, was, you could say it was them just churning it out. Whereas this album has a lot of feeling to it. You know, the last song, Whole Wide World. But then you get to Dreamy Skies, which feels very old school and bluesy. But there's some Bob Dylan vibes to it. I love the sentiment, I got to take a break from it all. Basically listing all the stresses of life and how much it can get on top of you and how you just want to let go. I love the lyric, I won't hear the sirens or the maddening crowds, just the bark of a fox and the hoot of an owl. And he talks about having no connections or a phone. So it's about really cracking open a drink on a camping holiday. It's about appreciating the simple things and the simple sounds and the simple life. And the song feels very escapist and nice to listen to. Mess It Up is the next track, and it's one of the most impressive songs on the album. One of the most modern choruses. You could see this chorus spoiled by electronics in other bands doing it today, so it feels very current, very dancey, but they don't sacrifice the guitar on it. That's still there. So it celebrates the kind of melody that a lot of bands are going with these days, but it still retains an edge. It seems to be about a toxic partner, but it's a little less serious, like a fun take on it, as the partner is doing such over-the-top crazy things in the lyrics. You stole my numbers, you stole my codes, you stole my keys, you nicked my phone, seduced my landlord, broke in my home, don't get excited when you leave me alone. I mean, this woman's a nutter. The chorus actually gets quite serious and it says, you're not going to mess it up for me, you know, I'm not going to do what you want. So it's about kind of looking at crazy and abusive people kind of in a light-hearted way, but also keeping your integrity when it comes to dealing with them. The chorus has some higher backing vocals that I feel like really enhance it and give it this elegance and this colour and this sense of nice feeling and mood. And it does feel like something you would never imagine Jagger singing. It is a new kind of melody in that chorus. Live by the Sword is a song I absolutely love. Elton John on piano for a song that just jumps out of the speakers with a rock and roll energy that's just a surge of electricity. Has the movement and the continuous swagger and chaos of the old Rolling Stones. I have no idea how Jagger can sound 20 on these songs, but he can. What is going on, Mick? Where is Mick Jagger, Paul McCartney and Ringo? Where are they hanging out? Are they just like the first trial of someone trying out this anti-aging drug, like the Illuminati or something? I don't know, because it's bonkers that Jagger can be this energetic at this age. It's crazy. Driving Me Too Hard is the next track. It's a bit boring, but it's still not bad. For me, it's one of the weakest songs on the album. Could have been better. Doesn't really grab me, but doesn't really bring things down. It's just a slow-paced song that I don't feel is that interesting. Old Keith Richards rolls up for a solo song in Tell Me Straight. An honest and vulnerable and stripped-back song by everyone's favourite pirate, Keith Richards.
It's not just about living forever, Jackie.
Richards isn't the vocalist Jagger is, clearly, but he does have kind of a relaxed, older statesman energy, even though he's actually younger than Jagger. How does that work? Professionality to this song. I feel like Richards, he only does a song when he knows he's going to get it completely right, and he does nail this. This feels like more of a detour into more thoughtful introspection, kind of Bob Dylan vibes. It's a good song that keeps you hooked because it sounds so genuine, and Richards' vocal performance is very good. There's a shakiness to his voice. There's a quietness to his voice. It's almost like you're peeking in at him playing this to himself. It just sounds so honest and believable. Now we get to the song that everyone's talking about, Sweet Sounds of Heaven featuring Lady Gaga. And you know what? I don't love it. People have made a big deal about this song, probably because of the guest star Lady Gaga. But I actually think it's one of the weakest. I still like it. Not very much though. I prefer most of the rest of the album. I do think Gaga and Jagger make a great team. The vocal when they sing together actually sounds glorious. Exuberance and epic feeling to the song. I'm just not a huge fan of the melody. I feel like it could have been better. But I can see how people could like the song. I can see what's appealing about it. Lyrically, it sounds a bit world peacy to me, which is fine. I like songs like that. I love the phrase Sweet Sounds of Heaven, but it could have been better lyrically. I feel like the lyrics are a little bit weak and a little bit cringy. But overall, it's an okay song. It's just not as good as I think people are saying. Rolling Stones Blues, they end the album with a very dirty blues song, very old school Stones. The harmonica's in there, the acoustic. Just the idea of people sat there playing, it just sounds very spontaneous. Sounds like it's being recorded as it happens. Jagger captures a lot of that lingering and roughness that he had in the old Stones blues songs. So this is an album of great joy, vibrancy and energy. It does not sound like a bunch of guys entering their 80s. It puts young bands to shame. Feels like no time has passed. Even the music sounds like it's forward thinking. It sounds like the Stones, but it sounds like how the Stones would sound today without compromising. I feel there's a lot of actually genius to this album in the way it's been mixed and recorded and edited. It doesn't fall into a trap that a lot of old bands do. It doesn't sound forced. Let me know what you think of this album, and as always, please consider clicking on another video on the screen now and pressing subscribe for more reviews of rock albums that need to be played loud.